What's gonna be? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know it as. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast Rolling Stone Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to discover the creative workflow of other famed musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are also sponsored by Dark Vision Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire building code CVPod at darkvisionsystems.com. Links are in the description of the podcast below. Go to the millionpodcast.com website. They list a bunch of different podcast rankings in terms of different categories. For music, we're on 2, metal and metalcore. For metal, we are ranked the 10th best podcast in the world, which is awesome. But I want that number 1 spot. For metalcore, though, we're a little bit closer. We're ranked number 2 in the world, and I want that number 1 spot. So it means we're going to have to just talk more metal music and heavy music as well, which we're going to do right now. Let's go feature presentation. We got Shane from Varials on the podcast today. Varials is releasing their 4th album, Where the Light Leaves, on February 27th. We not only talk about the album and how this is Varials' best album to date, we go through a number of songs on there that are yet to be released to preview the album for you, as to show you why this is the most expansive Varials albums to date and why this shows that there is so much more yet to be had in the future. But we also talk about why hardcore music is gotten popular, but why it is still growing to this day and didn't have a flash in the pan moment when Knocked Loose released. I already forgot the name of the album, which was really killing me right now. Oh my God, how did I forget this one? I kind of want to say The Calm That Keeps You Awake, or You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to. My God, that was bad. Okay, enough of that. You guys ready for Burials? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You know, especially over the past couple of years, that heavy, aggressive, hardcore sound music has gotten insanely popular, and rightfully so. It is absolutely freaking awesome. And I've seen this band perform live before, and when it came to the pit, it was one of the most dangerous pits I've ever been in my entire life, which means it was one of the most fun mosh pits I've been in my entire life. And I can't wait to see what they've got coming up next with a brand new album called Where the Light Leaves, coming out on February 27th. You can see them playing live at a headline tour this spring out with Unity TX, Heavy Hitter, and Bolt Cutter. And my God, you don't want to miss out on that. But let's prepare you for all of this. Please welcome Shane from Varials to the podcast. So Shane, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
What's going on?
Dude, it is a good day here today to talk with you. How's everything going in your world?
It's going good, man. We are gearing up to release a song coming up here Friday. I think the announcement just went up on our Instagram for the song. So just excited for that. And then it's just busy with like you said, we're getting ready for the record, and it's been busy to say the least. And we're just taking it head on and having fun with it. And then, we're excited, man. It's just all around exciting.
I would say if you weren't excited, I would be questioning if something was wrong, especially with a brand new album coming out, the 4th album you guys have come out with, a full headlining tour coming up to support it with some insanely great bands, to be honest with you. There's so much positivity around it, too, and so much positivity around that heavier style of music where it's just inviting so much just happiness in there in terms of like inner happiness for people. I'm not saying It's all sunshine and rainbows, but it finally feels like, especially with hardcore music, really becoming more of a mainstream noticeable thing. I'm not saying completely mainstream, but noticeable with the rise of bands like Knocked Loose. See what's going on with Kubla Khan, see what's going on with you guys as well. It's something where a lot of people who love this music are finally starting to see that, you know, there is such a heavy presence out there of it once again, and starting to get the recognition for how good this music truly is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it feels cool to be a part of, you know, that movement. One of our first tours was with Knocked Loose, and that was, you know, amazing. It's amazing to see what they've done, and, you know. Yeah, it is cool that it's kind of, like you're talking about mainstream. It's more popular than ever, I think, just because people are, not that they're getting tired of more clean cut metalcore stuff, I guess you'd call it like Octane. I think they're just diving deeper and deeper into like how aggressive can this music really get, and how just abrasive can it be while still being something you can, like, you know, it can be catchy, it can be fun, you know. So I think that has a lot to do with, you know, how much visibility there is with the internet and everything. Like you can get that, you can go down the rabbit hole real quick with Spotify, like suggested artists on TikTok, and I think that, you know, like I said, it's cool to be a part of that, and you know, be a band that maybe someone finds out about after listening to, you know, a different style of heavy music, you know.
Yeah, it's something that's insanely cool. And when it comes down to it, too, I think another piece that really drives home the point is when we think about what's going on in the world and thinking about people that are really coming into music and really coming into heavy music as well, we're seeing a different world than we did before the pandemic. We're seeing a different world as every year goes on, where things are changing so that I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like there's a lot of problems out there in the world, and people are constantly having new problems come up to them every single day. And it seems like across the world, things aren't getting fixed, things keep getting worse, and there's this feeling of aggression and anger, and there's really no outlet for it. And with heavy music, especially with that hardcore style, there is so much more of this brash abrasiveness that's being put out there in the forefront that does have that catchy piece to it, especially
Right.
listening to like Knock Loose, listening to you guys. Alpha Wolf is another great example of that as well. There's so much more connectivity to it, and people are finally starting to see that impactful emotional connection to how they're truly feeling on the inside, to what's going on in their lives, what's going on around them in the state of the world. And they're finding solace in the fact that this type of heavy music is something that is speaking directly to what they're feeling, whether it is directly with what the songs are related to or just the sounds and the emotions that they're permeating.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. Like, a lot of our music is rooted in. I mean, we're a metalcore band. I call ourselves a metalcore band, but it's you know, we grew up going to hardcore shows and being exposed to all different types of heavy music, and that's for hardcore music and hardcore punk and stuff like that. It's always the outlet is the reason why you're there, and it was almost like get the message out first and care about how it sounds with the instruments later. And I think just like with how off the cuff that approach is with music, I think, you know, that's where it all started. And I think more people are realizing that it's like the message is so important. Whatever you have to say in life, because people can connect to it. And you know, I always say it, but people there's people that like guitar, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
sound of a guitar. But that's only this many people. Like the majority of people connect with the voice and what the voice is saying. And I think, you know, being able to express that over the music is just it's just awesome, you know, and that people connect with it.
Well, kind of just taking into that, when we think about stuff like pop music, especially the stuff that's been that bubblegum pop, real popular over the course past 15, 20 years, not really has it ever been about the message. It's always been the focus on how can the specific melody or the specific produced sound be something that just catches in and is so simple to remember. And the focus is on just that. So you go through summer and it's like, oh yeah, this is the song of the summer. It's catchy. It's fun. And then by the time the next year hits, that song is completely forgotten about because it never had anything beyond what was at surface value. Now, if you go deeper than face value with what hardcore music has and what a lot of metal and rock has, what you're going to see is that the message, especially with hardcore, the message is so much more of an important thing where, yeah, the sound might not be as attractive at first, but why do people connect to it so much more impactfully than other genres out there? It's because the message is the thing that's at the core. The sound is what's at that driving force, and people are emotionally connecting to that in such a more distinct and a more connective way than just something that's on the surface. And
For sure.
now as that idea and that sound is becoming more emotionally connected with more people and is more accessible now, thanks to what, you know, I was gonna say, thanks to what TikTok has done, you're seeing that growth happen. And why it's being sustained over the last couple of years is because that connectivity has not changed as time has gone on. The great bands that are not only upcoming, but the ones that have been around that are creating this kind of music, they're still doing what they've always done. There's no change because now more people are listening to it.
Yeah, no, it feels cool to be a part of that. There are, I think about a band, like when you're talking about this stuff, um, a band like Trapped Under Ice, I think,
Mm-hmm.
like they combined the message and the cool, fun lyrics and the dope breakdowns and stuff like that. They did it perfect. You know what I mean? And I also think about a band like uh, Gojira,
Mm-hmm.
right? Their message is I don't know what their message is. I'll be honest, but I feel like they paint a little bit of a more fantastical picture with their music, whereas something like Trapped Under Ice is more rooted in reality. But it comes to the same conclusion, I feel like, at the end of the day. And that's what's cool about this style of music, whether you're looking at hardcore or metal or, you know, octane, core, or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Like the message is there. It's how you portray it, really. So, and metal's great for that.
I,
So
I think you absolutely hit it 100% because when you think about this music, if we have people that are saying stuff that's really rooted in reality, the message is rooted in reality, or the message could be something more fantastical, like the presentation Gojira works with, or even think about Electric
yeah,
Callboy
they
with
got a
just
song
the
about whales, man.
yeah. I'll say if you think about Electric Callboy
Flying whales.
with the goofiness that they have, but it's how the presentation is and how the presentation of that message is with these heavier style of instrumentation, these heavier style of sounds. It's just being this open canvas. And because of what we're seeing right now, and I recently had a conversation, for some reason, I can't remember who it was with. Might have been with the guys in Shields, or might have been, no, it was Zach Mayfield from Dayseeker and Oh Sleeper. We were talking about this, and it was, you take a look at everybody that started getting into music, this kind of music, especially in the 2020s or during the pandemic with TikTok. It was a moment where so many new people were checking out this music for the first time, and it was like an event. So this whole
Yeah.
generation of people are now going through this together at the same time. And because they're discovering this sound all at the same time, the massive immersive way that they can do this and the massive ways that they can connect with different sounds, like we're seeing the rise of, of course, we've had Bring Me the Horizon there, Bad Omens, Knock Loose, Sleep Token, Electric Callboy, throw Gojira in there too, because now they're headlining
Absolutely.
Incarceration this year. It's so
Absolutely.
expansive, but every band is completely different because of the way they're presenting their sound and the way they're presenting the message. And people are just connecting with it left and right because it is an authentic way to present it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I find the Wimmer festivals are like that's like the like Danny Wimmer festival with the incarcerations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Gojira headlining that. That brings all of that together. And we played a few of them, and I always enjoy like looking out into the crowd. It's like the people there are like sponges, and they're checking out the bands earlier in the day. It's like, oh, who's this? And there's no prejudice really with the fans coming up now. And I think it kind of has to do with that thing where people are diving deeper and deeper and deeper. It's like they're open to some different sounds, and they're open to different presentations and everything. It's yeah, man. I'm excited about the growth of metal as a whole. Um, I mean, like Sleep Token, like of course, it's rare that a band um sells out an arena tour the day of. I think that was,
Yeah.
um, which is so dope. Um, they put a lot into their craft, and I think anyone who's doing it for real is putting a lot into their craft. They got some other shit going on. I respect them for sticking to that. So it's cool to see the amount of people and new people getting into it. I think Sleep Token is a perfect example of like an uh gateway band where it's like there's people that like Sleep Token that prior to Sleep Token they had never listened to like a band. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the band the idea of a band was kind of dead for, I mean, it was still happening like on a smaller level, but the idea of like a band, like this huge big group of guys was kind of dead. And it was like people were just listening to EDM and rap and hip hop.
Hmm.
And I think Sleep Token is the perfect gateway for people that like maybe like heavier. When I say heavier, I mean more like aggressive rap and EDM and stuff like that. They're like the perfect gateway band to introduce people back into like what a live band is. And from Sleep Token, you can get to Knocked Loose, and they sound totally different, but it's the idea of like the band is back. You know what I mean? I feel like five five dudes pulling up and like rocking a stage is so sick to people nowadays. And that's why I think people are just they want they want the nitty gritty now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They want that real shit. Can I
You
curse on here?
oh, absolutely you can.
All right, cool.
I love when everyone asks, can I curse on here? Because I have to just curse right afterwards just to make sure it just
Oh
sits
yeah,
in.
or
But
curse them.
what you brought up about Sleep Token and the fact that fans coming up now, especially in heavy music, don't have the prior prejudices of fans like before the pandemic in the 2000s and the 2010s, where it's you have to, if I listen to this type, then it's like you can't listen to this type, or everyone wants everything to sound one way. These new fans are so open to just what's going on, and the Danny Women Presents festivals are perfect examples of it. I'm big fans of those. I've been at Louder Than Life every year for the past 4 years. I'll be back there again this year, like I always am. But when you said with Sleep Token, it resonates so well because you're right. Before that, it was people when they were going to see larger artists, if they weren't the legacy acts of rock and roll, it was they're going to see the hip hop artists, EDM, and it's one person and just a whole stage production, or the pop artist that it's just them, but it's just a whole stage production. But the only person that's actually really creating the music is them. That's right there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
with
And
Sleep,
people get down with like it's easy for
Mhm.
people to like see the one person and be like, that's the dude. You know what I mean? They're the attention span of people. I mean, for myself as well. It's like that's why the singer gets the most recognition. Like if they
Yeah.
kind of spearhead it, like people latch on to like, oh, it's just that guy and he's like the man, like he does all this shit. But in reality, they have teams of people helping them, and I hope they're grateful for that because we have a team of people helping us, and we're four people. You know what I mean? So we already have a team. We have a team around a team. So that's I think that's why people resonate with that. But like I said, the band is back, which I love. You know?
The band is back and people are really getting into focusing on like the nitty gritty of what makes this
Yeah.
absolutely special. You're
Yeah.
seeing the rise of artists once again, and we're starting to see what a lot of people in rock and metal had wanted to see for quite a while, where using the Damn festivals as a great example, you're seeing artists that have been around for less than 20 years headlining festivals. I mean, I know Gojira's been around for a while, but after their presentation at the Olympics opening ceremonies in 2024, they went from being a band that, they might headline a small room here in America to now they're headlining a festival. Bad Omen, Sleep Token with 2022, in the fall of 2022, they were an opening act for Nothing More and In This Moment. And then 3 years later, they sell out an arena tour within one day. There is
Yeah.
a focus on what makes this special because people are paying attention to that nitty gritty. People are paying attention to every piece that's around there, and they're connecting to it. They're connecting to the conglomeration. They're not connecting to just that one entity that's up front on stage, like that symbolic, lead singer, that symbolic performer. It's a connection to the sound once again. And when you have a group of guys or a group of girls or a conglomeration of the both creating this massive sound that people are connecting with in such a raw way, there's going to be that growth. And we're seeing it continuously over and over again. And honestly, I hope it doesn't change for the next couple of years or next decade or so, just to see how far this can really go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I hope it stays rocking because this is our career now, with this album coming out. It's like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like we want to make this a career. I'm not afraid to admit it. I still work a day job. You know what I mean? And like we put so much effort into the record to be able to kind of finally take it take it to the level that we want. So it feels good being a part of the whole thing. So
It's a little odd to hear too. It's like, especially when you're talking about you have a team around you that helps you and you're working with a team, but you're also still working a full-time job. I'm not saying it's weird that you're working a full-time job, because how many artists I've had in the podcast that are still working a full-time job to make sure that they can support the music that they love and want to create it. But I really hope that when this album drops and after that tour as well, the band is in a place where there is a continual positivity behind there, to the point where Varials can be everything you need it to be for yourself. And you don't have to have a full-time job that you have to go to in order to, keep the bills flowing.
Well, I guess where I was going with that was the fact that it's growing so much makes me feel better about, being in the niche of metalcore or metal or hard rock. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, because I mean, look, the more people that are into it, the better it is for the artist. It's just simply put, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's mid-size rap artists that, granted it's one person that's kind of collecting the money, but I feel like you could be a mid-size pop artist or like even a smaller pop artist, and you could be like making a living for yourself, whereas you have to be like the biggest metal band in the world to like be making good money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because the sphere is so bigger in those other worlds, and I feel like we've been talking about it. There's more and more people kind of jumping over from heavier sides of rap, heavier sides of EDM, and more like eclectic forms of pop. Like Sleep Token has many pop parts in their songs, and I find that they do a good job of capturing those people.
And you're seeing that growth really happen in real time too. I mean, we've already talked about Sleep Token with that arena tour that sold out, but given where they were 3 years beforehand, Bad Omens with an arena tour before, and 4 years earlier they were opening for Ice Nine Kills in small rooms. Bring the Horizon doing arena tours and bringing bands on like Motionless in White that are growing very fast as well. And looking at these festivals, especially the Danny Wimmer ones, is a great barometer. What you're also seeing too is they're constantly breaking attendance records. They're constantly growing and having to expand. Louder Than Life expanded their size by, I want to say 40% of what the ground they could cover from 2024 to 2025. And then the attendance showed for it. People are wanting to come out to this stuff. So what's going to continue to happen is like you said, more people are going to come in. Now there's more eyes, there's more ears, there's more people that are into this and wanting to go see this and support this. And the more there is now, the more bands can continue to grow, have that, following behind them, and get to those places where you're doing this full time for a living because you love doing it and it can actually support you fully throughout what you're trying to do. And it leads to more creativity as well, because now you're not constrained by, I got to split focus between the passion I have for the band and then whatever full-time job I have to make sure I can make enough money to support this.
Yep. It's getting there, man. Like I said, LP4 is coming out. We're very proud of it. I don't know if you got sent a link to it.
Oh, I did.
You got the record. Cool. Yeah, I mean, we put our ass into it. Simple as that. It's our best record that we've ever written, and we're excited to take it out on the road.
Yep. So I'll say, let's just jump right into it and make sure that people get their fill and their preview of it, because I don't want to leave people thinking, should we listen to this record? Of course you should listen to this record, but I want to get you more amped up for it. So when it came to writing this record, being the best record that you guys have written so far, what was the mindset going into this to create these songs? And was there a consistent thing that kept bringing you back to like a couple of certain songs or a couple ideas that you consistently had?
I mean, the main focus was just, like I said, writing the best record we possibly could, and I think we just went in with a damn chip on our shoulder because of circumstance. It was a hard road to get to where we're finally at. We're finally about to release the record. Like, I think we operated purely to prove that we're just going to keep going. I think we turned around and was like, okay, we're actually like, not only are we keeping going, but we are fully revamped and the best we've ever been. So it felt good to kind of by the end of the recording process be like kind of like feeling ourselves a bit.
That makes sense. And of course, when you're trying to do the best that you can do, you're just letting the ideas flow here because there is definitely a larger scope of what you guys were able to do with your sound on this record than I think what you did with some of the previous ones as well, because I've listened to those too. But what I really found in this record was, again, there are certain aspects of like, oh, we're going to try this idea. We're going to try this. We're going to try different sounds, different vocal patterns, and just see what we can do to create this. And I think you not only created the best record you guys did, but the best well-rounded record that you could in terms of sound of where not only Varials is, but in the scope of where Varials can go in the future. There is a feeling here of there's a complete matter of growth that we're seeing, but we're not seeing all of it just yet because it hasn't been fully realized. But the potential to realize it is absolutely 100% present.
Yeah. I mean, we're finally what feels like a real band. And to me, this feels like our first record. I know this is our fourth LP, but this is the actual definitive start of Varials for years to come. And yeah, there's parts of, our sound that we've always had. There's parts of new sounds. There's a whole bunch of different stuff, and it felt good to kind of like mesh them all together. And there's something for every Varials fan on this record. If you like romance, there's tracks that have that same type of vibe. If you like Pain Again, there's ass beater tracks. If you like In Darkness, there's dark, dreary, everything in between. And it's mashed throughout all these songs, and it's not just, oh, this song sounds like this old record, or this, like, it all comes together throughout the 12 tracks on the record.
It doesn't. Even starting out with the titular track, the way that you did and releasing that as one of the singles, I think that perfectly encapsulates that idea of there's going to be something here that's not going to be the same thing you'd expect. There's going to be much more around it because it does start out that has that like electronic stack, sounds like flipping through the channel. So there's like a changing of the guard here in terms of a sound, but there's a slow feel to it that you're just not certain about. But then I think it was you get to the 34-second mark. I'm looking at my notes that I wrote down about it. There's just melodic beatdown beats, aggressive uncleans. So you're seeing just this absolute heaviness come forward, but there's that sense of change or that sense of wonder of what could go forward. It's still a good song, don't get me wrong, but I love opening with it because it expands on what this album can actually be and is actually going to be.
I mean, that song is a one-trick pony. It's just heavy as shit.
Yeah,
if you watch the music video, there's a little snippet at the end of kind of some newer vibes, and we did that purposefully to kind of signal that. But if you just listen to the single on Spotify, it's an ass whooper. We had to come out. It was what we announced our record with. So title track, we announced our record, the same day. We had to come out swinging. So that sets the tone for the record.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I feel like this is going to be a perfect segue into this question. So when we recorded this, at the time of recording, there were 2 singles that were out. I know you mentioned that there's another one coming out literally 2 days after we record this. So which song was that again? Because I can't remember if I saw that or not. I just
the newest song coming up?
Yeah.
That is The Hurt Chamber.
Okay, just wanted to make sure on that. So we'll take Where the Light Leaves, The Hurt Chamber, and I'll Find the Dark out of this because by the time this releases, people will be able to listen to those songs already.
Sure.
Those already be out. But out of the songs that will not be released until release day, which is the song that you were most excited for people to hear and why?
I'd say No Lie Untouched. Once again, that's the mesh of like all the different lanes of Varials. And that song, it's the song after Where the Light Leaves. It's fast, it's slow, it's weird, it's got bass riffs. Like the bass just gets abused in Varials. We love bass. So that's just like the melting pot right there. I think No Lie Untouched. That's my final answer.
I think you picked a good one there too, because you do talk really well about it in terms of how it has different, like those different pacings, the fast pacing, it gets melodic at times too. There's a different, there's like a different pacing that goes back and forth between the song that really pulls out just where you guys are going, where you guys could go. And I think it also then fully encapsulates following what we saw with Where the Light Leaves as the titular song, what this album really is. And it also then fully opens up as not only where you guys are going, but what you could do, because then you listen to other songs on the album, especially closer to the end, like Blissful End and Romance too. And I think you really see a lot of those differences come together in two songs back to back that really show how vibrant this album can be with such a heavy sound.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Blissful End is, once again, fast, slow, weird, everything in between. Romance 2. Yes, it's a sequel to Romance 1. I was asked a question one day. It's like, hey, you should make songs like Romance but longer. And I was like, okay. And I went and did that. And it's a tough song to write, like a sequel to, like, it's our best performing song stream wise. Like kind of like broke containment, if you will, from our fans into like a bigger audience. TikTok, once again, is kind of the reason for that. It's tough writing a song like that, because people are like, oh, the old shit's better, the old shit's better. So now we had to come in with a song that's better than Romance, and I think we did.
It was
It's
definitely
more full and long.
It is more full, it's more long, and it's more all-encompassing. And to be honest, it caught me off guard in the best way possible, because there's some vocal styles in there that are a little bit more drawn out, especially a little bit more on the clean side, but remind me of like a Marilyn Manson style vocal to add this seductive feel and this longing feel throughout the entire song. But then you get to the guitars in the chorus, and they match that longing to differentiate against the aggression, the uncleans that are in there. And just because of how it flows in between those, it is a thing that you just enjoy every minute of. But then the outro comes, you provide a heaviness of just moving on with anger without the seduction of the vocals that are earlier on in it. I was surprised by this one, and I honestly think this is a song that the fans have to watch out for and pay attention to, because it's going to hit you in a different way, but it's going to be something that you really expected to hit hard, and it does, but not in the exact same way as Romance did. The sequel hits in a very, very, very particular way that, damn, it was good.
Thank you. We love that song. Once again, it was hard to write that song. But yeah, it definitely it paints a picture of, the message. I'll leave the lyric reading up to the fans, but I think we painted the picture very well and created a song that, oh, you want to listen to Romance 1, and you can follow it up with Romance 2 and kind of hear like the differences, and like there's member differences and sound and production differences. Just a different take on that sound.
Oh, absolutely. And then even right before it too, with what Blissful End does, I'm looking at my notes again too, because I didn't want to make sure I didn't forget anything I thought about when listening through these songs. That one I wrote that song has something for everyone in it, no matter what side of Varials you enjoy, no matter what side of heavy music you enjoy. And I think this is actually going to be the fan favorite upon release. It's going to be that thing that I think no matter what you like in your heavy music and no matter what you like from Varials, that song just has an attraction to it for everybody across the board.
Yeah, Blissful's fun. We've been practicing that. It's fun to play. That's like a Slipknot inspired song. I mean, I just think the one part sounds like Slipknot, but that was just a song that we kind of pulled together in the studio, and it just felt right. It just kind of had this like kind of like groove to it. And once the lyrics came in with Skylar, put on a show there. But yeah, it has something for everyone here.
There's a certain groove there that allows the pacing and the aggressiveness of the song to start out one way and then continue to transform itself as you go through the song. When you get to the breakdown, there's even a second breakdown in there that even enhances it more. But then you work your way back to what you brought up in the beginning of the song. So there's just this feeling that, in my mind, no wonder why you guys, put this song on the record. No wonder you guys are practicing this to play live, because it is such a well-rounded song that it's going to be the thing that you guys start playing it. That pit's going to be wide open, but you're going to start seeing some intensely crazy shit happen in the middle of that thing when this song plays.
I hope. It's a slammer for sure.
I hope so. Just everyone, if you got, make sure you have a mouth guard in, because if you get smacked in the face, just make sure you don't lose any teeth.
Absolutely.
Are there any other songs on this record that stood out to you as like maybe some of the hardest ones to write outside of Romance 2 being, a sequel to your best streaming song? Were there any ones that just stood out as this one was tough to write, but in the end, this was well worth the effort?
Yeah. Conscious Collapse is a song that I wrote, very late into the record, just because we were kind of like feeling like we didn't have enough, and Conscious Collapse came through. And purely from a technical aspect, the song it's got some odd time signature stuff going on. I didn't try and make it weird, but I was trying everything I could to not make just the same song that happened earlier in the record or later in the record. I don't like making things, like, this is a Varials song and like, so is this. It's like, this is a Varials song on this record. How can we put another one next to it that has all those same vibes and doesn't sound the same? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean with this one, and you worked on that really well, and you really put it together in a 2.5 minute song overall. I think especially with that odd time signature, the way that the bass riff worked off of this, especially with having a little bit more of this heavier feel to it, a little bit of a funky pattern to it as well, it allowed the song to go between different paces of going more melodic and going more intensely fast at the exact same time really well. You had this connection that the bass riff was able to transition you from one spot to the next. So all the pieces from other Varial songs, like maybe that were on the album, were there. But that one riff just made this so it sounded completely different, and the experience from going from one spot to the next sounded unique in its own way.
Yeah, that kind of came together quick there at the end, the bass riff. Like I said, we just abuse the bass. We love the bass guitar has been, a very important part of Varials, and now especially as a 4-piece, I'm starting to think of Michael, our bass player, as a second guitar that's just tuned lower, and we're kind of just playing at the same time. We're trying to get the point across with just us two. So I think kind of pulling him up in spots and letting him take the forefront is just like chef's kiss.
Oh, it absolutely is chef's kiss. And I even looked at my overall summary of that song too. I put at the end, sonically, this is a pleasing, heavy track. Like sonically, you are absolutely feeling like you got your money's worth through that 2.5 minutes, and you want to go back and experience it again and again. Well, there's no way around it.
It's a ripper. That's what we were trying to do, just rippers all the way through.
It absolutely is. And I think especially you brought up with the bass and kind of using it as, instead of just like a bass guitar, but like a heavier, more down-tuned style guitar. It adds more ability to what you guys are able to do with that sound, with the pacings as well, instead of just having the bass be what everybody else might think of the bass. You kind of are taking a look at it with your sound and remixing it so that it fits with different ideas that you have, but in a way that no one else really is doing it. I haven't really heard anyone do the same thing with a bass that you guys have done, especially within that heavier music sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of just happened naturally with Mike. That's just how his bass has always sounded, and we never really messed with it. So kind of just a core part. Me and him have been, founding members. So it's sounding as big as possible with just us two is the main goal going forward here.
Alrighty. Well, again, when it comes to this album, this is going to be one hell of an answer, but you're going to want to be part of this. You're going to want to pay attention to this. But before I wrap this up, I got 2 questions for you, Shane. One is, of course, album comes out on February 27th. You got the tour coming up in the spring with Unity TX, Heavy Hitter, and Bolt Cutter. But the rest of 2026 is still open. What can we expect from you guys?
More announcements. Australia, if you're watching, we're coming to Australia with Spite. I don't know the exact dates, but that is shortly after the headliner. I believe late April into early May. The rest has not been announced yet, but coming soon.
Well, I was hoping for some teasers. I mean, coming soon is the best thing that I can hear at this point in time. I know you're not going to give me anything you can't give me, but
within the next week, you'll know. But
oh shit!
I don't know if it's gonna benefit you at all.
Well, we'll see what happens. If it doesn't benefit me, it might benefit a bunch of other people. That's the key.
That's exactly it.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I want to ask before we conclude this episode is something I've asked every artist I've brought on the podcast for almost the last 3 years now. It's a way for us to get to know more great new music and for you to get support the music you love. We'll limit it to 3 so we're not here all day. But Shane, can you name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
I'm gonna shout some people out. Let's think long and hard about this. I listened to the new Balmora demo. Balmora from Connecticut, cool band. I Promise the World. They're doing some cool shit. I've seen them a lot. And then my last one, Cell from Oklahoma.
Ooh. All right,
Good
we got some good ones, and honestly, 3 that I've only ever heard of once or I've never heard of it all. So I got some exciting times to listen to some good music while I get to work on this episode and get back to work too.
Cell OKC. I love that band.
Perfect. Great suggestions. And Shane, thank you once again for being on the podcast today. I truly appreciate it. We're going to wrap this episode up with 3 things really quickly. First things first, when it comes to Varials, when it comes to the brand new album releasing on February 27th, when it comes to their upcoming tours and the announcements they're making as well, you're going to want to know all about it, follow along with it, and make sure you're a part of this. Go to the podcast below where it says Find Varials online. Links and labels for everything. Find them on social media. Watch YouTube videos. Stream the new album. Go pre-save it. Go pre-order it. Or if it's out, listen to it. Order it. Get a physical copy of it. Go get some merch. And, of course, see them play live. All the information will be down in the description of the podcast below. You have no reason not to follow along with them and at least click on one thing. Come on. I'm doing all the research for you. Go and do it. Now it's time for number 2. I always make a certain promise, so I say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, and I wish to continue to support the band in the future for the bands I enjoy from the podcast, which is pretty much every single one, so this is a very reoccurring thing. Normally, it's when I get to see you perform live for the first time, but I'm not going to forget that pit I was in last year with you guys, so the promise is when I get to see you perform the next time, I will come and find you, I'll come and say hello to you, but the actual promise is first round's on me.
My man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yes. Now I'm going to go broke once again with, all the first rounds I still owe people, but we're going to make it happen.
Yeah, you got a lot of people that you owe.
I got, out of the 700 episodes I've done, I think I've got like 650 left I still owe.
Jeez. That's some money right there, bro.
Yep. Might have to start selling, kidneys or feet pics, but we'll see how that goes. But now it's time for number 3. As we bring this episode to conclusion, I cannot end this by saying goodbye. That is way too final. I made you a promise. I got to keep that promise. Plus, I enjoy having this conversation with you, man. I'd love to have you back on again in the future. So goodbye is too final. We're going to end it by saying, I'll see you later.
See you later, bro.
Well, folks, this is my interview with Shane from Varials. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. And when I think about what Varials did with this album, what we talked about, and what Shane ended up saying about when we talked about the song Conscious Collapse. That's really where this album really shows its, not only where it is going, but how great it can really be. Of course, we talk about Where the Light Leaves and No Lie Untouched and how this really shows that encapsulation of where Varials has gone with their heavier sound and how to expand on it the way that they did. But when you listen to Conscious Collapse, we talked about the importance of that bass, that riff that just drives the song and allows the song to go between this heavier, faster, manic pace to something that's even more melodic and constantly go back and forth between the two so seamlessly that sonically it is so pleasing. You see that throughout the rest of the album with the ideas that they had on here. Blissful End being a song that I think is going to be the fan favorite and is a lot of fun. Romance 2 being a sequel to Romance, their best streaming song overall, and having a more expansive sound to it, but one that is so surprisingly pleasing that you're just going to enjoy every minute of it, no matter if you like romance for its heavier side, if you like romance for whatever else it brings to the table. That is all there. You're seeing the expansion of what the ideas of what this heavier side of music can be with what Varials is doing here. And it's at the perfect time too. People all over the place, and when they're listening to heavier music, they are not having that prejudice anymore in terms of sound. All the newer fans are so much more open to different sounds, different styles, and we're seeing it show up here. We're seeing it show up with Varials as well. I'm loving every second. I'm loving every minute of it, to be honest with you, and I hope it just continues on. I hope we don't see this go away. I hope they keep bringing the heat like this, and I hope you guys get to go see it live, because enjoy this while it lasts. Enjoy this great moment in heavy music while it lasts. I want to thank Shane for coming to the podcast. Same when it comes to Varials Go Stream Podcast. Well, links, labels are there for everything you might need for social media, YouTube, where you can listen to music, where you can stream it, where you can get the new album, find the new album, get a physical copy of it, get some merch, and go see and play live when they tour with Unity TX, Heavy Hitter, and Bolt Cutter. Please also follow us on the Chord Progression Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, links to the podcast below. Also, be sure to follow along with the Chord Progression Podcast and subscribe to the podcast here on YouTube. If you go right down here, hit that subscribe button. If you're on a podcast or Spotify, hit the subscribe or follow button. Be sure to hit the like button on these episodes to help pushing the algorithm in. Leave us a comment. What do you think about Varials? And especially when it comes to what we talk about with the moment that heavy music is having, do you see this as truth or not? Do you see this standing or not in the future? Do you see this continuing on, or do you see this flaming out in the next year or two? I want to know what you guys think. Put in the comments. Thank you, Shane, for coming by. To have you on again. On that note, that's going to be thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes. Big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.